and welcome to the Swiss Connection. I'm Susan Misicka. No matter how much we rely on computers and smartphones for work and leisure, there are some old-school tools that might never become obsolete. And I saw a massive one a few years ago. It was a giant sculpture of a red pencil outside of a factory in Geneva. This was at the headquarters of Caran, a century-old company that makes pens, pencils, and other art supplies. Let's revisit the factory in this encore episode of the Swiss Connection. Quick question. Have you got a pen or a pencil handy? I bet you do. And so does this Swiss executive.
I don't know anyone not having a pen or a pencil on them. I mean, to write a quick note or just to have this object on them is very important.
That was Carole Hubscher, the president of Caran. Her company has been making pencils in Geneva for over 100 years. Now the collection includes a whole range of office and art supplies. But will it still be going strong in 10, 20, or 30 years? Many adults have dropped their pens in exchange for keyboards and touchscreens. As for children, is drawing pictures still in, or has digital entertainment taken over? And for graphic designers, does drafting by hand still play a role these days? Later on, we'll hear from a child development specialist and a design professor. But first, a trip to Caran, which employs 290 people in its factory on the outskirts of Geneva. I went there with a microphone, a notepad, and an embarrassingly ordinary pen, which turned out to be a good icebreaker with Carole Hubscher.
Well, it's true that I always look at what pencil or what pen the people are using, because it reflects also a lot about their personality, I have to say. And some of them you can tell also with the jewelry that they're wearing. For instance, women, if they're wearing gold, then they have the tendency of having a gold pen as well. Or, well, it all depends also of who they are and what they use. It's funny to see also you have people that are more trendy, and they would use then also different sort of pens with colors and designs, and it reflects a lot the personality of the person.
So what do you think this says about me?
That's the one that you just found on your next door desk, probably, or in a rush. I need a pen, where is the pen? And you just took it from your colleague, probably.
Inside the factory, I could see why she was amused. Why settle for cheap plastic when there's a whole world of more sophisticated options?
It's a swedging machine, in fact.
A what machine?
Swedging.
Swedging.
We put in the good shape the pen.
It's a greasy and hot process. Later, the pen bodies might be etched or covered in enamel. A lot of the work is done by hand. So what is she doing?
We produce just this small ball to after attach the clip. Here.
A stamping process.
Here we have a new machine to prepare the surface of the piece to reduce the polishing after.
The ballpoint pens have to pass the 100-meter test. In other words, a machine makes sure that they can write a steady, clean line for 100 meters. And there are other tests, like this one.
To control the mechanism, we make this movement 50,000.
50,000 times?
Times, yes.
That's why you need a robot and not human fingers, huh? And then there are the pencils. Every day, Caran produces enough pencils to cover the distance from Geneva to Rome, which is about 900 kilometers. Spokeswoman Noémie Rossier showed me a barrel of what looked like purple spaghetti. But in fact, it was a sample batch of pencil lead.
We have someone in the lab. He's in charge of the R&D, and he's searching for a very pure pigment and a very new one. So this is one of them.
When they get the color right, this spaghetti gets baked and cut into perfect lengths. These go into cedar wood sandwiches.
It comes from California because it's the better wood to be sharpened. You know, the wood have to be very soft and very smooth, and then it's be sharpened easily.
After that, they get 7 or 8 coats of varnish. And as the new pencils roll off the production line, it's almost like music. Then they get embossed.
All the pencils are marked with something with the name.
And can you guess what this vital step is? That's the sound of a legion of pencils being sharpened. I read that Hubscher threw a pencil out a 5th-floor window to show another reporter how robust it was. But wasn't she worried it would break in half?
No.
It would be embarrassing.
No. I'm very confident about the products we're manufacturing.
All of the products go through rigorous testing before going on the market.
Yeah, well, it's part of the whole process also of testing the products. What we do also when we are making a new product, we are sending this product all over Switzerland, and they're taking different sorts of transportation. They will take the train, they will take the airplane, the truck, the telepheric even, and well, they're just making the big tour here in Switzerland, and then they come back and we check that everything is okay, that it's in good shape, that they didn't get any scratches or defects and so on. So this is really part of the process of testing the product.
But despite all that testing, some 5,000 pens end up back in Geneva for repairs each year. Many are decades old, and they've outlived the equipment that made them.
So sometimes we don't have spare parts left to be able to repair them because the people keep them so long and are so addicted to their pens.
That was after-sales manager Daniela Coste. She says that sometimes there are strange reasons why the pens malfunction.
An old lady was not able to change the cartridge, the refill, and well, so we checked the inside of the pen, and apparently she kept her needles inside, so it was full of needles. I mean, we found about five or six needles inside. So I don't know why she put the needles inside. Maybe she tried to unstuck it, or I don't know what. But that was a really funny story. Another time we had another customer that, I think he used the pen and he hid €5 inside. So it was really rolled inside. We opened the pen and did not know why we couldn't put it again together. So while searching inside, we have found literally €5 rolled inside the pen. So I don't know why he hid that, but that was also a very funny story.
I hope you kept it as a tip, as trinket.
No, we send them back to him. No, we are very, very serious people.
Whatever the case, Carole Hubscher says that the repair service is a priority.
It's important also when you have a nice fine writing pen that you've been using for many years and that needs a service, to know that you can send it here, have it serviced, cleaned and so on, and that you can reuse also afterwards or pass it on to the next generation. It's important.
Speaking of the next generation, is drawing still important for children? Or are they too busy playing with smartphones and tablets? Oskar Jenny is the director of the Child Development Center at University Children's Hospital in Zurich. He believes that young children are still into paper and crayons.
Developmental process, they first scribble on a piece of paper, and they see actually that some of their thoughts remain somewhere on a piece of paper, in sand or snow, whatever. So they feel, well, it's there and it remains. It does not go away. And then they learn to draw geometric figures and eventually human figures and situations. And I'm sure that these are important, very important steps for the children's development, especially in these areas, in these years 2 to 6, whatever, or 2 to 8. So I think that does not just kind of go away, because other medias, other technologies are predominant, but I think there's some intrinsic drive of the children to eventually do this. And of course, this drive is taken up by schools and institutions.
I can confirm that my preschool niece and nephew love to color and draw. And what about graphic designers? In this digital age, how essential is the pencil? According to Robert Litcher, pencils will always have a place. He's the head of the master's program in communication design at Bern University of the Arts.
I mean, we still got this huge openness towards like all visual material because that is also the base. If you look at it historically, I mean, it's always when you talk of design, it's disegno. It's starting from the scribble of something. This is like really the first definition of design from the Renaissance, and so everything started in a way with a pen, and so the whole culture of designing in a way starts with this idea of drafting something. So I mean, it will be always around, but of course it changes its function and changes also its relevance in certain kind of fields.
He and his students have various approaches to their work.
At the one hand, we have like very, very traditional approaches which really start by working really analog techniques, with starting with a pencil, then working it out really of an analog way. And then in the end they move forward to the computer. But on the other hand, people like me, I'm just a really quick scribbler, and then I really go fast to the computer and start like drafting by computer. And I think then there's a third class, but it's still quite small, who are really drafting by computer, and not only by using the tools the computer gave us, the programs which are usual, but also by coding in the end. This is maybe the newest and most futuristic approach to drafting in a way.
But for the students, it's more a matter of just doing it and not thinking too hard about the method.
Yeah, I think students are really like beyond digital thinkers. They use a tool. They're not thinking about if they are virtual or if they are from the real world. They just use it and they mix it like in the best sense. They use scanners. They use copy machines because they are analog. They still got to play with the aesthetic of the technology.
Litcher himself is a fan of the electronic pencil.
For visual designers who really create more visual material, I think the pencil system, the electronic pencil, this was really a great invention, because now they could use the computer in their way, like in this traditional way. Before you always had this mouse and you have to click, but it's a totally other different move and thinking. The connection between your hand and your mind is totally different when you have this mouse in your hand. When you have a pencil in your hand, and then there came these pads, and they're getting better and better.
Back in Geneva, Caran has also dipped a toe, or a nib as it were, into the digital age. One of its newer pens, the RNX 316, can double as a stylus on tablets or smartphones. As for the next 100 years, I was unable to unlock any trade secrets. But Carole Hubscher says that changes in the retail market prompted the firm to finally launch its online shop in 2012.
The ones that are buying online are not the ones that still need the service and want to go and try it on and so on in the stores. I would say it's maybe the ones that already have a Caran d'Ache, that know what it is. They use the facility of online buying to send also a gift to a friend, for instance.
While I was in Geneva, I picked up a souvenir to match my outfit, a shiny turquoise pen from the 849 series. Supposedly, it has enough ink to fill 600 A4 pages. I used up a fraction of that on the train ride home. And it occurred to me that it could be nice to have a whole wardrobe of writing instruments, instead of just grabbing whatever happened to be in reach. And you? Maybe you'll want to jot this down. You can visit us at swissinfo.ch for more on Caran d'Ache, as well as other quintessential Swiss companies and innovations. Coming up on the Swiss Connection, nearly 2/3 of voters have agreed to legalize same-sex marriage in Switzerland. We'll talk about that more next time. And we'll meet a couple explaining what the vote results mean to them. The Swiss Connection is a Swissinfo production. If you enjoy our stories, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to get in touch, check us out on social media. Or you can send us an email at swissconnection@swissinfo.ch. This episode was produced by me, Susan Misicka, with help from studio technicians Jakob Stoller and Dani Wieler. Our theme music is by Michele Andina. Thanks for listening.
Do you want to polish your knowledge about Swiss elections, referendums and political parties, while at the same time learning more about the quirks of the political system in Switzerland? If that's the case, our newsletter course is just what you need. Each week for a month, we'll send you a free installment explaining the most important details of how Swiss democracy works. Our course teaches you who's eligible to vote in Switzerland, what the different parties stand for, how election and popular vote results are implemented, and what distinguishes Swiss democracy from other political systems. Our crash course is interactive, like democracy itself. Your questions will be answered on an FAQ page, and you can debate with other users and share your inputs and opinions. We will also provide links to multimedia articles and videos to help you better understand the Swiss democratic system. Please join us and sign up for the free Democracy Crash Course newsletter at www.swissinfo.ch/democracy. That's www.swissinfo.ch/democracy.